everybody. And as you can tell, there are comments. Yes, you can comment on this video. I had planned on making this video. One of the reasons why I planned on making this video is because last video, of course, I disabled the comments. There was a reason why I disabled comments. It was because I wanted people to respond. I wanted there to be a open discussion in video form. I didn't really explain that very well. I wanted it to be in video form. I didn't want it to be in the form of, just people doing the comment section on YouTube, which completely sucks, and it basically getting bogged down and there not being a true discussion. I think there's a better discussion on YouTube when people are doing video responses. I understand that not everyone can do a video response, but 90% of the people that are watching these videos have Movie Maker or something like it on their computer, and they can very easily do a text video. So anyone that says, you denied people their chance to do responses or to let their voices be heard, that's what I would say, is pretty much everybody has the ability to do at least a text video. If they don't have a video cam, if they don't have a camera or a mic or something along those lines, there are other ways to do videos on here, and so there you go. So let's start off with this. This, of course, is kind of my response to myself with the RoHBOTS versus the RoHaters video. And one of the things that I think people kind of misunderstood was, I was talking about the haters. The people I was talking about, I wasn't talking about necessarily the people that just don't like Ring of Honor, because there's always going to be people that don't like one product like another product. I don't like PWG. I'm not big, or I shouldn't say I don't like PWG, but I'm a big PWG fan. I like, a couple of their shows. I'll probably get their Kurt WrestleMania 2, because that looks like it's a good show, but I don't get a lot of Ring of Honor or a lot of PWG shows for various reasons. So I completely understand when people don't like a product. My problem is when people just want to bash a product for no reason and have, as Mr. Narrator said, just uninformed opinions, or opinions that are just, they sound like talking parrots. That bothers me. Luckily, we didn't get a lot of that. We had a lot of people that talked about the same things, but for the most part, it wasn't like the exact same things over and over again. So I am going to respond to most of the comments, most of the videos that were video responses. I won't respond to all of them. A lot of them talked about the exact same things, and so it would become a little bit redundant to do a lot of the video, to just keep talking about the same thing over and over again. Though I'll probably still do that somewhat. So if I don't directly respond to you, don't get offended. Though one of the things that I would say is if you like the idea of this, please go and watch at least some of the video responses, not just the people that you know, because there was a lot of people I've never heard of that did that really did went out of their way, or I shouldn't say out of their way, but did really good videos and made very good points. So let me start off with that. But before I start off with that, let me start off with what I don't like about Ring of Honor. Yes, there are things I don't like about Ring of Honor. Anyone that has watched my videos long enough know that there is probably a whole heap of things I've said over the years that I didn't like about Ring of Honor, because I've never felt it was the perfect product. I never felt ECW back in the day was the perfect product. I felt like too often, particularly with the pay-per-views with ECW, is that the matches were just kind of thrown together, and maybe you would have two really big storyline matches and all the other matches. I mean, you wouldn't even know the full card the day of the pay-per-view in some instances, and they would just throw on random matches, and I never really cared for that too much. But things I don't like about Ring of Honor. The first of all would be production. I don't think the production is where it's at. I do think the production, particularly on the DVDs, has kind of taken a back seat. Part of that is because the money's not there. And Ring of Honor, unlike TNA, has to rely on the money it has. It has to rely on the money it makes. So you've seen with everything else, with the economy, them, cut things. They've cut wrestlers, and they've cut back on the production, and that's too bad, because I've never felt the production was where it should have been anyways. As a lot of people noted, particularly when it comes to guys doing promos in the ring, it can be very hard to hear, and it's just very like, oh my God, will you please, yeah. And that hurts, because promos are a big part of pro wrestling. I completely agree. Now, I do think there are guys who are very good at promos, in Ring of Honor. I think Davey Richards has gotten very good on promos in Ring of Honor. I think he's finally found the type of promos he needs to do. I think Claudio Castagnoli and Chris Hero are very good. I think the Briscoe brothers are very good at what they do as far as promos, just being kind of off-the-wall kind of characters. Christopher Daniels does a very good promo. I think Homicide, when he's into it, can do a very good promo. Kevin Steen, when he was there, he could do an amazing promo. Even El Generico with his, even though he doesn't say anything, same thing with Delirious. Him and Delirious are kind of the same way, even though it's kind of babbling nonsense often. There is somewhat of that they are good at what they do. I think Kenny King is a very good promo, as well. But are they good enough? Are they WWE level? No, I don't think so. But at the same time, they're also kind of given, more of a freedom of what to do. And I think that you have a lot of guys who haven't been in the business that long. You have some guys that have, but you have some guys that haven't been in the business that long, and they're still kind of learning how to do a promo. Promo skills are something, I don't care where you are. WWE, they handcuff guys, and that hurts the promos. TNA, that's one thing I think TNA does better than probably either two companies, is their promos. I think that their promos are often good because they don't handcuff the guys. But at the same time, I think that they let the wrong guys cut the wrong promos, and I think that kind of hurts it. But that's beside the point. So I definitely understand where that comes from when people were talking about that. But at the same time, I think that the fact that you do have guys who can do good promos, and so they do need to be able to do good promos, and the fact that they just can't seem to get that part of it right. The lighting on the DVDs is often not very good. Even on the iPay-per-view, sometimes it's a little to be honest. So that's one thing I don't like. I wish one of the reasons why I promote Ring of Honor is because I want them to be better, because I want them to have more money so that they can bring in more talent. I've talked about this before. I think that the talent roster is a bit stale. They can't necessarily afford to bring in the best indie talent, such as like PWG. PWG puts on like 14 shows a year, where Ring of Honor puts on maybe 4 times that amount, and they can't bring in the same guys. So there's that. Roderick Strong, a lot of people brought up Roderick Strong. I completely agree. I think Roderick Strong's champion doesn't work. I think that they needed to get the title off of him as quickly as possible, and it's nothing against Roderick, but Roderick isn't a guy that people see as, well, he's in Ring of Honor. The champion has to be seen as the best wrestler, or he has to be the most over guy, which Roderick is not. I think they were trying to do that with the Truth Martini thing, but I don't think the Truth Martini thing is played out right. I think that I think if you even asked diehard Ring of Honor fans, I think they would, if they tried to explain to you the whole Truth Martini storyline, they wouldn't do a good job of it. I think what it's supposed to be is, I think Roderick isn't supposed to necessarily understand that Truth is a heel. He's really not a heel, even though he does heelish type things, but he's still trying to be Roderick, and he thinks everyone just hates him, and so he's just angry at everybody, and Truth Martini's doing things behind his back that infuriates everybody. But it doesn't come off well. They're not telling the story well, so I definitely agree with that. As far as could the storylines be better? Yes, I think that many of the mid-card storylines could be a little better. I think that they do seldom throw too many matches together, but I think the upper card storylines are often very good. But definitely, I definitely agree with the Roderick Strong comments. I definitely don't think that he's definitely not the right guy. I think that another thing that I don't like about Ring of Honor is the New York fans. Unfortunately, that's Ring of Honor's big market, and so they too often listen to them, and I think that often they're a minority of the bigger Ring of Honor fans. The Papa Briscoe thing at the last iPay-per-view at Final Battle was evident of that. If you go on outside of the Ring of Honor message board and you go to around the net, a lot of people kind of liked the Papa Briscoe thing, and then the New York fans just kind of shat on it, and that at first it looked like it was going to hurt the match. Then the fans kind of turned once it realized that, hey, maybe this wouldn't be so bad, and there you go. Which I found funny that many of the people that criticized Ring of Honor didn't bring up that match, because to me that was more of a sports entertainment match to start with. But anyways, I definitely think that that the talent needs to be used better. I think the Kings of Wrestling need to be kind of separated, because I think Hero and Castagnoli would be better as singles wrestlers for Ring of Honor, particularly now that you have the World's Greatest Tag Team. You can keep the Briscoes together, and you have the All Night Express coming up, and so you have the 3 tag teams I think you need, and then every once in a while you can throw 2 singles guys in there for like dream tag matches or that sort of thing. But honestly, that would be probably my only real gripes with Ring of Honor. I think the HDNet shows are, for the most part, pretty good. I do wish that they would let the guys be on promos a little bit more, and they don't. A couple of people said that they would probably like the shows better if there was just one long promo during the show. I agree. I think one long promo during the show would be very good instead of it just being all wrestling. Particularly if you're just going to throw the women's matches on there and all they're going to be are these 3-minute matches. I think that would be a better time spent to do promos and try to get guys over. So I definitely agree with that. But overall, that would probably be my only real problems with Ring of Honor. Like I said, production. But I think if I didn't bring up production, I'd feel kind of a hypocrite, because that's one of the things I don't like about PWG is the way that they produce their DVDs. I think Chikara is ahead of both, but I think that has a lot to do with Smart Mark Video, because Chikara doesn't produce their own videos, their own DVDs. Smart Mark does it for them, and I think that helps them out a lot. But I still think that their production is often a lot better because of that. So if you like production, and I know a lot of people do, if you're growing, if all you know is WWE and then you watch Ring of Honor, it's going to be a big kind of shock to the system, I think. So I completely understand that, as far as a negative to Ring of Honor. But other than that, I think that it's still my favorite company. I would say I don't think it's the best company. I think sometimes I say the best, but what I really mean is favorite. The best company out there right now. I would still maybe say the WWE. I enjoy, them or Dragon Gate to me. I'm not really big on New Japan outside of the juniors, and same thing with the exception of a few guys in AAA. I'm just not really big into AAA, other than I can't fathom the storylines either. I can kind of know what's going on, but not really. But that's kind of where I stand, and that's why I come on here and talk about Ring of Honor, because I think that there are people who don't give Ring of Honor a chance that I think if they did, they would like it. I also understand that there's some people that don't like it. One of the reasons why I've said this before, I don't talk about Chikara a lot, is because I know a lot of people would see Chikara and be like, what is this, and turn it off. You definitely have to have the right mindset when you watch Chikara. So there is all of that. So that said, let's get on with kind of responding to what people said. I'm going to try to do the best I can here. There's 33 video responses. Maybe more by the time I get up here, but we'll see how this goes. But the first guy was the Shadow Ranger or Wrangler. He's not a ROH fan. He said basically that he likes TNA. He likes the fact that there's so much stuff packed into TNA as far as the storylines go. It's one of the things I hate about TNA. So right there off, we totally do not agree. And if the TNA storylines do it for you, you definitely aren't going to be into Ring of Honor. No idea about that. He also talked about Daniel Bryan, and the fact that it kind of bugged him that Daniel Bryan has had the U.S. title and he hasn't defended it. But then he kind of was upset that really Ring of Honor storylines are built around the titles. I don't really understand why you would use that as a negative against Ring of Honor while you're griping about Daniel Bryan. But to me, the fact that particularly when you're talking about the tag titles and the world title, the fact that the storylines are often built around those and not like secondary. Like, the John Cena Randy Orton feud wasn't so much about John Cena was more about John Cena Randy Orton than it was, John Cena wanting the world title, or Randy Orton wanting the world title. The title becomes secondary, and that does kind of bother me because it's like, well, then why even have them go for the title? Why not give the title to someone and they can actually use it to elevate themselves instead of just having it on these two guys, just so that they can go on last, they can be the main event. Yes, they're the most over guys, but when the title kind of takes a second, I'm not big in that. That's just me though. He also, and this was a constant thing, is that he felt like he felt like there was, with some ROH fans, I'm taking it, that, you know, if you have a different opinion, it wasn't cool, and I don't agree with that. I think, you know, people are going to like what they're like. I think that when you don't give something a fair chance, or if you just, you know, you're being a talking parrot, that's what annoys me. But for the most part, I think that everyone's going to like what they like. Everyone's going to like something different, so there is that. And he also brought up the fact that one thing that really upset him about Ring of Honor was that whenever he heard Kerry Silkin, Kerry Silkin and a lot of the Ring of Honor guys talk about the fact that, you know, there is more wrestling on Ring of Honor on HDNet than there is, like, on TNA, particularly TNA, because he's a big TNA fan. And I understand that, but you have to understand that what they're trying to do is they're trying to be as much as you're a TNA fan, I'm sure you understand there are a lot of people that are not happy with TNA. And so what they're trying to do is saying, hey, if you're not happy with WWE and you're not happy with TNA, you know, here's what we offer. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, hey, here's the difference between us. And they have to do that, because I think that if they try to be TNA and they try to be WWE, then it's going to be hard for them to, you know, they have to be different to succeed. You know, as you know, I've often said that Chikara, which to me is the most different of any of the promotions, is the one that I think, if it was on the right network, would succeed the most. And I don't talk about Chikara that much, but they'd have to be on the right network, and it would have to be promoted in the right way, because I think that you would get a lot of people that would just be into, you know, the crazy storylines, and the fact that the wrestling is kind of a little bit more over the top. They go with the over the top storylines, and it's a little bit more cartoonish, and it's a little bit more this and that, but it's also a lot more family friendly without being dumb, without being WWE. It's family friendly. It's what WWE should be, in my opinion, when it's trying to be family friendly. But that's just me. Okay, then we had Lim Cooper Reviews, right? I think I said that right. This was a review they did of kind of Final Battle, and they also talked about, even though they didn't really review Final Battle, they just talked about Davey Richards and the Davey Richards Roderick Strong match, which they hated. There was 3 of them. One of them was had been a diehard Ring of Honor fan. They all talked about Ring of Honor, but they also talked about the fact that they had been Ring of Honor fans back in like 06, 07, sometime in that range. They had actually been to Unified, I believe. And one of the things that they kind of griped about is they felt like the same talent was there. And I agree. I've done videos on this, but I don't think the same talent in wrestling is there. You had this great talent pool that came up around 2000, and we just haven't seen that other great talent pool come up because they're all going to MMA. And, you know, that's going to be hard. But my question to them would be, who would you bring into Ring of Honor that is out there? You know, I asked this before, but this would be my question. If you're going to say, well, the guys aren't there, who would you bring in necessarily? Because one of the problems is that there's guys they could bring in, but they can't necessarily afford them. This isn't like WWE, who could just bring in whoever they want. Or, you know, I mean, even TNA at this point isn't being able to bring in every guy they would like to bring in from outside the company. So there you go. They gave a lot of criticisms, particularly, you know, about guys kicking out of moves, a little too much of guys trying to be too much of, you know, fighting spirit Japanese, and this sort of thing. There's a lot of the same criticisms that people had back in 06, 09, through 09 of Ring of Honor, particularly during Gabe's run, where it became, I think, too much kind of, let's try to be, you know, Japanese wrestling, and they relied too much on the Japanese guys at the time too. One minor criticism is one of the guys said, you know, that Joe, you know, was this original type of wrestler as far as what he did in the ring, and this is just my own personal kind of gripe. But for anyone that's going to gripe about, you know, Davey Richards kind of being Davey Kenta, Joe is never been able to get over big in Japan because he basically just does like tribute spots to all these great Japanese wrestlers, and the Japanese just see him as this kind of joke wrestler because of that. There's not a lot of things that is original about Joe. He's just kind of just took a lot of stuff from Japan. So even though he's one of my favorite wrestlers, there is what I would say. They also criticized, they said, if Cena and Edge had the exact same match that Rowdy and Davey had, that the ROH fans would come over here and say it was sucked because, they kicked out all these moves and this and that, and I wouldn't see that at all. We often see Cena doing the Superman gimmick. I think that I just don't believe that if Cena and Edge had the same type of match in WWE, I think people would actually think it would be better because the WWE doesn't do that type of match that often. So there's that. And then they talked about the current booker and this and kind of going back to Gabe and Adam Pearce. And one of the things that I don't like about Delirious so far is it seems like he's trying to take Ring of Honor back to the Gabe kind of booking ways, which the New York fans and some of the diehard Ring of Honor fans really liked, except that, in my opinion, it also alienated some people too, because while the shows were really, really, really good, you have to have the talent to be able to do that, and I don't necessarily think they have the talent to do that. I really liked the way that Adam Pearce structured his shows a little better, minus I think that he could have done better with the opening matches, but I like the fact that they were, 2.5, 3 hours, and I think that's really good. I think it was one of my biggest problems with Final Battle is that was just far too long of a show, particularly coming off of Glory by Honor, which was another long show. If Final Battle is going to be a 4-hour show, let it be a 4-hour show, but the other shows need to be 3-hour shows. They need to be, or 3.5-hour shows since you do the intermission thing. So there we go. So there was that. Then, let's see, was Wrestling Jesus next? Yes, Wrestling Jesus. Yes, he made a bunch of videos. I don't think I'm going to respond to every single one of them, but we will see. Some of them I actually thought, one of them, he did one video, an example of an ROH fan that I thought was actually very funny. I'm not going to lie. That was kind of hilarious. But he started off his video basically thanking me for doing the videos. Because he thought that this would be a good thing and kind of give life back to the wrestling community here on YouTube. So there was that. So you're welcome. He also brought up the fact of me talking about the buy rates for Ring of Honor for the iPay-per-view, and that 2,500 buys, and that's nothing. That a porn site would be able to do that. I completely agree. That's why you have a billion porn sites out there. You don't have that many, wrestling companies doing that. However, here's the thing. Ring of Honor, if they can do 1,000 buys on the iPay-per-views, Ring of Honor pulls a profit. So as long as they're pulling a profit, to me, that's a good thing. Now, keeping in mind that HDNet isn't seen by that many people, I want to say that only 3 million people have it or have it available to them. They don't do ratings because the shows don't do that much. Estimated that I've seen that the show might do is somewhere around 50,000 people might watch it. So not that many people even watch it, to be honest. But for the amount of people who watch it, which is, let's say it's 50, and you have 25, that's not a bad conversion rate. So, it is what it is. Still most of the Ring of Honor fans don't have HDNet, so they're not getting able to see it. So, to me, that's a good number. Now, maybe not to you. Keep in mind that the Dragon Gate pay-per-views, I think, currently are doing, pay-per-views. The TV pay-per-views are doing about 5,000. So they're doing about half of what the Dragon Gate pay-per-views are doing. And I'll freely say it. If you are on regular standard pay-per-view, you're probably going to be able to get more buys than on an internet pay-per-view, just because of it's the internet and people streaming it, and people who are going to do that are used to streaming it for free to start with illegally. So, so to me, in my mind, that's good. You may not agree, but there you go. So let's see, what else did he? Oh, and that's not good. And but I also think that they had to do something other than the taped pay-per-views. The taped pay-per-views, in my opinion, that they were doing had run their course. They definitely weren't doing enough buys to where they'd be able to make money. To be able to make money, I think think Ring of Honor would have to do 15,000 buys of pay-per-view to make money, and Ring of Honor has to make money on the pay-per-view, so that's not an option for them because I don't think they'd be able to do that. TNA has to do, I think it's 20 to 25,000 to pull a profit, and they're not doing that. And Ring of Honor doesn't have the cash cow that is Panda Energy to kind of suck off of. So there we go. There you go. There you go with that. My point, because he brought up the point that I talked about spots in WWE, and that the spots mean more in WWE, and I completely agree with that. My point was I was trying to make, and I didn't make it very well, was that you have a lot of people who criticize the WWE because there's not enough spots, particularly when you're talking about the ladder matches, the TLC matches, the Money in the Bank matches, that they feel like they toned down the spots and there are not enough spots. And yet we hear that criticism, and then we hear the same people criticize Ring of Honor because there's too many spots. And then at the same time we have people who will love a Motor City Machine Guns versus Young Bucks match, but then will criticize a Ring of Honor match. To me, that's kind of where I was coming from, where I agree the way WWE does their matches, and I think they could speed them up a little bit. I think they could do a little bit more, but because of that, the psychology is there. The psychology is very much there, and I think they do a much better job of that. Like I criticized, Davey Richards, and even though I really liked the match and I was really into the match because I wanted Davey to win, and because of all of that, I probably did rate it higher than some people would have. But I also criticized it because of it. I also criticized, the El Generico Kevin Steen match because I didn't think it was. I thought that because Davey Richards and Roderick Strong was the way it was, it hurt that match as well. So there you go. My point about champions, he also brought up the fact that I brought up the fact that champions in Ring of Honor mean more. What I meant by that was that the champions in Ring of Honor, in my opinion, the belts are more important in Ring of Honor than the belts are important in WWE. Not the WWE champion is more important than the Ring of Honor champion. No, not at all. That's how many people actually know who the Ring of Honor champion is as opposed to WWE champions. My point is that within the confines of WWE, the titles don't mean a lot. In the confines of Ring of Honor, the titles mean a whole lot, and you can structure the storylines just around the fact that a guy's going for the title. That's what I was trying to say. So, and the same thing goes with TNA as well. Last half of his vid, I actually agreed with a lot of what he said, or at least I thought that he had a lot of good points that I agreed with. I think he had some good points. I think he had some good criticism to bring on. So there we go. He did another vid, and he brought up the Code of Honor. And honestly, maybe I've watched Ring of Honor so much I don't even notice anymore. But I don't even think that they do the Code of Honor that much anymore. So there we go. I was also wondering where I myself was trying to plan on shoving the Ring of Honor pay-per-view down people's throats. I was just curious what video. I don't remember doing it. Maybe I did. So I would like to do that as well. He also said that he felt a lot of Ring of Honor fans were bandwagon fans. If they were bandwagon fans right now, as far as people who would enjoy Ring of Honor, they would probably be PWG fans right now. And I've already talked about the example of his example of an ROH fan, which I found pretty funny. What I didn't find funny, because I thought it was kind of stupid, was his thing about Rob Feinstein. He did a video talking about that Ring of Honor was. I didn't even watch it, to be honest. Sorry, didn't watch it because it looked like it was going to be stupid. Maybe it was funny, I don't know. But I watched part of it where he talked about the fact that Ring of Honor's founder, one of their founders, Rob Feinstein, was a pedophile. Really, I think just about every Ring of Honor fan knows that. I have said countless times that I didn't even follow Ring of Honor, why Rob Feinstein was part of Ring of Honor, not because of the pedophile thing, because nobody, that came out later, but because the guy's a crook. I don't like the guy. The guy is the head of a DVD distributor. He does a lot of the shoots of RF Video. Who, he screwed me out of more money than I would like to admit. And I don't do business, and I wasn't going to do business, and I wasn't have anything to do associated with him. And there's a lot of people that are in the same boat as I I am, and as soon as he was found out as soon as that happened, as soon as he had the whole pedophile thing happen, he was out of the company. And he despises Ring of Honor to such a degree now that there was actually a site that was started by either him or friends of his, which is a independent wrestling site. And you might enjoy this because it would give you lots and lots of fodder, a lot of ammunition against, Ring of Honor. The Declaration of Independence Wrestling, it's DOI, is the name of the site. But it's Declaration of Independence Wrestling. You can look it up. It has basically it's a lot of hateful things. Rob Feinstein would throw a party if Ring of Honor went out of business because he feels cheated and felt like he shouldn't have had to sell the company. Even though, everyone's seen the video, so there you go. So I just wanted to bring that up. So let's see, where did we go there? Then we had the Good Guy for Life 08. He basically, one thing to him, I think he had really good points, but my one thing is, dude, stop being Spinnernet 1.0. And what I mean by that is that Spinnernet used the same gimmick. You notice he doesn't use the gimmick anymore that you had for, I guess you have multiple accounts, I don't know. But just, dude, don't do that. It's just not good. But he did a really good video. He brought up some valid points. He did another video in which apparently people weren't listening to what he said. I saw his first video and I didn't think he said anything that was anything else. And him and Wrestling just did a video on Trademark. I don't know why they didn't send it to Trademark, so I didn't watch those videos. Sorry, because I'm not Trademark. I don't know what Trademark said, but apparently Trademark said something that pissed a bunch of people off. So, there we go. I don't know how to respond to that because I haven't seen that video. Let's see. Then we had 1427 Wise Guy. He had another good video going over a lot of the same points of what he liked and didn't like about Ring of Honor. A lot of these guys did the same, where they would talk about what they liked and didn't like Ring of Honor. Then you had Pro Wrestling for Life. He did another video where he talked about, everyone likes different things. His video was more of I think it was his video, talking more about that we all like different things, and completely agree with that. Like I said, I don't like PWG, for example, for various reasons. So there was a good thing about that. Let's see. Where are we at here? Wrestle Jesus. Let's Talk Wrestling. Another guy who is a Ring of Honor fan, but also had some criticisms about Ring of Honor. A lot of the people that were Ring of Honor fans also had criticism for Ring of Honor, which that's a good thing. So another really good video. Definitely would say go check that out. Same thing with Mr. Guns 3, I think is what that was. Another video that was really, really good. Then we got another long response from NMC 016 I don't know. I've never understood what his screen name is, but he's done numerous video responses to me. He has something against me. I don't know what it is. I guess I don't know what it is, but it is what it is. Let's see. What he talked about some drama crap that I still don't understand. The start of the video, your little snide comment, I don't get it. If you would please want to explain. If it's what I think it is, you need to really check your source before you keep going with that. He also griped about the fact that, I've talked before about people blocking comments and this and that, and then I disabled comments on this video, on the video that he responded to. You're right, I did, but I did it for a reason. There was 33 video responses. There was a discussion that I wanted to get started. That's why I did it that way. So, and he said that, if someone didn't have a mic or someone didn't have a video, they couldn't participate. That's not true, because as I said before, if you have Windows Media Player, there are other things you could have done to make a video response to that video. You don't have to just have a mic, and you don't have to just have a video. There are other ways to do it. I think most people could figure it out. So there you go. As far as my videos getting flags, you're right. I don't have any proof because I've already taken care of it. But if your video gets flagged, it's not necessarily taken down. You get a notification that it was flagged and that YouTube has looked at it and has decided if the flagging was genuine or not. or you can explain why it was wrong or whatever. You get an email. But it does affect your revenue sharing, and when you get flagged, the revenue sharing does go away. But I've had it happen to 4 different videos. Didn't happen to the and they were all Ring of Honor videos. It didn't happen to the Final Battle one, but it has happened. It's happened to 4 different videos of mine, and it's annoying. It really is. As far as the trolling comments thing goes, the trolling comments, I wasn't necessarily talking about myself, and I think it came across. I think I may have said it was talking about myself, but that's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say was I was talking more about Ring of Honor's own videos. Ring of Honor's own videos, people go on there and they will thumb down every single comment on Ring of Honor's videos to the point where they've had to turn off the comment rating thing on their videos before. To me, that's being a dick. I'm sorry. You want to do it on my videos, you want to do it on someone else's videos, that's fine. But to go to Ring of Honor's videos and do it, that's a little bit a dick. I'm sorry. You know, people can say whatever they want on my channel. I've said this before. Or they will go on Ring of Honor's channel and they will mark comments as spam. That's being a dick in my opinion. Sorry. But that's what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about necessarily my stuff, because I usually go through the comments, and anything that's not really spam, I usually mark as not spam. So there you go. He also brought up that he said, you know, that I said it was easy to find this stuff, to find Ring of Honor. My question to him, and this is a legitimate question, when was the last time you paid for a WWE and TNA pay-per-view? Because if you streamed one, it's just as easy to find Ring of Honor stuff as it is to find a WWE or TNA pay-per-view when it's streamed. Sorry, but that's the truth. He said the same thing Wrestling Jesus did about the 2000 pay-per-view buys. Same thing I would say to him. It only takes 1,000 pay-per-view buys for Ring of Honor to make a profit. So that's why that is. That's why I said that. That's why I don't think it's a bad thing that they did that. Is it as good as WWE or TNA? No, it's not. But I've never said TNA has to do 100,000 buys either. I've said TNA just has to, you know, do better than what they were doing. And I've also said if TNA was putting on a good product, a product that I liked, I wouldn't really care if they were, you know, if what their buy rates were or what their ratings were, or, you know, how many people that they draw for their attendance. But the fact that all of those numbers for the most part suck, okay, except for the TV ratings, shows that they're not putting on a product that people are willing to spend money on. And that's has always been my point with that. So there we go. Then we had Hayden the Great, I believe. Let's see. Let me make sure I've got. Let's see. Wrestling Jesus and Hayden the Great. He's not a Ring of Honor fan either. He has problems with Ring of Honor, but because he likes, particularly with the storylines, completely understand with that. I do. He likes Chikara, and that, like I said before, I think Chikara is definitely more storyline driven, to the fact that I think that it would be more accessible to a lot more mainstream, particularly for, I think some people would laugh at it, some people would find it over the top and like the fact that it's over the top. So, so there was that. Let's see. Great. And then IMEC11-155. He basically, on his video, he was talking about the fact that Ring of Honor fans can be a little bit overkill, that Ring of Honor fans themselves can put people off of Ring of Honor. I completely agree with that, particularly when you're talking about the ROH board, those types of fans. That's why I don't go there that much. I'm guessing the same thing goes with the comment section up here. I've never seen it on one of my videos, but I'm sure, well, that's not true. I think I've seen it a couple of times where people will just say stupid stuff about if you're not a Ring of Honor, you're not a true wrestling fan, whatever. I've never agreed with that. Mr. Narrator did an amazing video that everyone should see. More people should be, should do more videos, should not do more videos, but see more of his videos. He does a really, really good job with his videos. Let's see. Then you had Nathaniel, who did another really good video about the pros and cons of Ring of Honor. Same thing with Primetime Nick. Sanders Robin did a video response as well, and if you haven't seen his is pretty good. He did say, you know, the fact, and I agree with this, if the feud sucks, or the feud is good and then the blow-off sucks, then it does kind of suck. It does. I completely agree. It's one of the things I hate about WWE is often the blow-off matches just don't live up to the hype of the feuds, where I would agree with him in Ring of Honor. I think the blow-off matches often live up to the feuds. But he also talked about the fact that do you watch, wrestling for the wrestling, or do you watch or the storylines? If you watch it for the storylines, then do you watch porn for the sex, or for the stories in that? And I would say this. This is what I would say. This I agree, except that as far as pornos go and as stories, The Devil and Mrs. Jones kind of negates your argument. I'm sorry if I'm corrupting people who don't know what that movie is and will probably go search, but yes, The Devil and Mrs. Jones totally negates that argument. So there we go. So then Honor Hammer did a video. I love Honor Hammer's videos, so there you go. Double Cross King did a video that was really good. The Wrestling Fan did a video that was also pretty pro Ring of Honor. Then you had Wrestling Jesus doing his, RoH's founders, pedo, which we talked about. You had KOB 456 did a video in which he was talking about Ring of Honor. LT514 did a video as well that had a lot of good points as well. Steeltown Brown 52, another good video with a lot of good points. New York Jets for Life fan is what I guess what it is, but it's NYG for Life 123. Another guy that more people need to see his videos. He did a really good job as a guy who's not necessarily a big Ring of Honor fan, talking about why he supports Ring of Honor and why he thinks supporting Ring of Honor is a good thing. Then we had the 2 trademark videos, which I really didn't get. We had Mysterio 619 fan for life, which he made some good points in his video. I kind of disagreed with some of the things he said. He says the Ring of Honor kind of bores him. This, that, and the other. To me, and I'm not trying to be a hater here, but he sounds like just an angry indie fan to me. But hey, we all like what we like, and we all like what we do. So I believe he said he really liked Chikara. I know he also sounded like he really liked CZW too. So hey, we all like kind of what we like. High Hop 350. I really didn't get a lot of the video that whoever they are made. I could barely hear their voice, so it kind of made it difficult. Attitude Status did a video defending Ring of Honor as well. You had Big Rat 310 doing a video in which he talked about the pros and cons of Ring of Honor. He had a lot of pros and cons of Ring of Honor videos, which is kind of good. And then we had Wrestling Sock Puppets, which he was the last video he put up. I couldn't understand a word that it was. He tried to mess up the voice and was doing a sock puppet, and I don't know who he really is, but it didn't come off very good. He was trying to say something about the fact that Ring of Honor sells TNA and WWE DVDs. Wasn't quite sure the point he was trying to make, but oh well, there we go. But that is that. I think I responded to most of what everybody had to say. I didn't want to go on too long, though I know I have. But definitely, as I said, for those of you that wanted to comment, you can now comment. For those of you that want to do video responses, do video responses. It's a good thing. I promise you, it's a good thing. Maybe I'll do some more videos like I did, talking about issues. This issue definitely is not going to go away, so I definitely would like to talk about this more to some of you. Particularly, like I said, who are some guys that you would like to see Ring of Honor bring in? I think that would be a good discussion. But I definitely thinking I might do another video where I disable the comments and just let video, and just do video responses. I definitely would like to get people's opinions on that or what they thought about doing that. So with that, I've gone on for far, far too long. This is a huge, long video, and I'm sure some people are going to be very upset about that, but hey, whatever. With that, I'm out. Have a good one. Later.